What is this, guys? This class is related to Git and GitHub. What is GitHub? What is Git? What is GitHub? Where we are using Git and GitHub, right? So we'll discuss. In 1 second, guys. Today is 21st October 25th. Okay, guys. Yeah. Yeah. So DurgaSoft, welcome to DurgaSoft, guys. Git and GitHub. So level 1, beginner. So this course is related to Git and GitHub. So what is the course content? What are the prerequisites to learn this course? So before going to deep dive, so that instructor, guys, myself, I am a Hari Cheruku. I'm a DevOps consultant and solution architect with over 12 plus years of industry experience as a real-time and trainer. So, okay. So I have done few certifications, guys. Those are ITL. I'm ITL certified engineer. I'm a Red Hat certified system administrator. And I am a Red Hat certified Linux engineer. And I am a AWS certified solution architect associate. And I'm a certified Kubernetes administrator, guys. Okay. So what is agenda? Agenda for this course, guys. Introduction to Git and GitHub. Usage of Git user interface. Command line usage of Git towards to advantage. So what is that? So introduction to Git and GitHub, usage of GitHub user interface. So what is the Git bash? So this is nothing but a what this is, guys? So this is nothing but a Git. So this is nothing but a Git. So usage of command line usage of Git. How we can use the command line Git here. So by using Git bash and usage of Git user interface. So that Git user interface is something like I have a GitHub account, guys. So what is that? GitHub.com. So Hari Krishna Cheruko 866. This is my account, guys. And so I have a repositories in this GitHub. So what is this? So usage of GitHub user interface. So this is the user interface of the GitHub. I will tell you everything, guys. No worries. This is the GitHub usage of interface and command line usage of Git. Towards advanced, we will discuss it. So towards advanced, so we will discuss it. Okay. So prerequisites. So what are the prerequisites to learn this course? None, guys. Pay attention. Who will learn this course? So nowadays, everything is through automation. If it is a automation comes into the picture, the code, whatever the code, everything will be need to store somewhere. So where we can store? So we can store the data. What is the? So we can store the data in the GitHub. This is the a remote repository where all the developers will connect to the GitHub and store the data. Where all the QA engineers will connect to the this remote repository, store the data. All the DevOps engineers will connect to the remote repository and will store the data. Okay, I will tell you each and everything. Just purpose. So that what you need, guys, pay attention. What are the prerequisites? Nothing, guys. So, but pay attention. So, who will learn this course? So, that a developers, QA engineer, operation engineer, everywhere in the IT industry need to know about the GitHub because of their data will be stored under the this repositories, this GitHub repositories. Okay. So, goals and objectives. What are the goals at the end of the class? You should know how to get started with GitHub. How to get started with GitHub. Able to work with Git repositories. What is that, guys? How to get started with GitHub. How you can start with this GitHub and able to work with the repositories. What is this, guys? A repositories. What this we call it as a repositories. Okay. So these are the repositories. You see, so how many I have? I have a 32 repositories. So these all are the repositories. So these all are the repositories. DevOps material is so of the repository in this DevOps material there is a Git material. So I uploaded all the Git material in this repository. In this repository. Now you understood what is this? This is the storage medium. We can store the data. It may be a code, or it may be a Word documents, or it may be anything. Anything we can store it, guys. Anything we can store it. Nice, guys. Understood? Yeah. Find information about the sub or to learn more. So we'll cover the modules, module wise, guys. Introduction to version control system in the first module. What is version control system? Types of version control system, centralized version control system, or a distributed version control system. Benefits of version control system. Introduction to Git, history of Git and GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. Okay. If you learn any one of these, guys, it will be very easy to understand the remaining also. It will be very easy to understand the remaining also. Guys, so module what we will discuss, we'll discuss the introduction to version control system. So module 2 will discuss about the Git installation and configuration. So installing Git on Windows, Linux, Mac, and basic Git configurations, and Git GUI tools versus command line tools. So what is that, guys? Git GUI tool, for example, VS Code. Okay, so what we will discuss, so we'll discuss about the VS Code and Eclipse. So how we can integrate this, how we can connect with the IDEs, and how we can, so this is the, so VS Code, how we can integrate with the GUI tools, and how we can work with the CLI also. How we can work with the CLI also. Guys, understood? Yes, very good. So GUI tools, Git GUI tools versus command line tools also we'll discuss. Command tools also we'll discuss. Module 3, Git basics. Creating a Git repository, cloning a repository, Git directory structure, checking the status, adding the files, committing the changes, viewing the history. And module 4, what we will cover in the module 4, working with the branches. So understanding the branches, creating a branch, switching the branches from one branch to another branch, merging the branches. We want to merge from one branch to another branch. Okay, so we have a development branch, QA branch, production branch. So whatever the developers develop that code, right, that push it to the development branch. We want to merge from development to QA branch, QA to production branch. How we can merge it? The conflict resolution. If we have a, while merging from development branch to QA branch, something like there is a mismatch in the code. How we can conflict that resolution? Deleting the branches, how we can delete the branches, module, Git workflow and collaboration, how we can use the Git workflow, remote repositories, pushing the changes, pulling the changes, fetching the changes, forking and pull request, upstream the repositories. Okay. Module 6, undoing and resetting, how we can do the undoing and reset, Git checkout versus Git store, Git restore, Git reset, Git revert, Git shashing, Git clean. We'll discuss in the module 6. The module 7, tags and releases. So what we will discuss, guys, we'll discuss about the tags and releases, creating the tag, annotated versus lightweight tags, listing and deleting the tags, pushing to remote. Module 8 will discuss about the Git advanced topics like Git rebase, Git cherry pick, Git hooks, Git ignore, and Git attributes. Module 9, Git with GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, creating a repository on the GitHub, SSH key configuration, collaborate access, issues, projects, and actions will discuss. The 10th, real-time scenarios and best practices, Git workflow strategies, Git flow, GitHub flow, team collaboration practices, Git in DevOps pipelines, Git aliases and productivity tips, security in Gits. We'll discuss about these 10 modules. We'll discuss about these 10 modules. Git adoption, mostly wide used, very mature ecosystem of a tool, used for most open source project, Linux kernel, Apache, Eclipse, Android, wide enterprise usage, guys. Wide enterprise usage we are using it. Okay. Yeah. So we'll discuss about what is GitHub, what is Git. Okay. So what is Git? So what is a GitHub? We'll discuss in this course, guys. Guys, understood? So what we are discussing in this class? So what are the topics we are covering in this class? Guys, understood? Guys, understood? Yes, we
Yes.
could. Yes, right? Yeah. So right, if you learn any one of the remote repository, it may be a GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket. It will be similar to all the guys. If you learn any one of the remote repository, either GitHub or Bitbucket, or code repository, AWS code commit, Azure repo. All these are similar, same options, guys. But the difference is naming convention and UI. But the difference is naming convention and the UI. You understood, right? So this is GitHub UI. What is GitLab UI? So for example, this is the GitLab UI. What is this? So this is the GitLab UI, right? So how it will be? The UI will be, so this is a GitLab. What this is, guys? This is a GitLab. For example, Bitbucket. The functionality should be same, but the difference is just UI. What this is, guys? This is the Bitbucket. So this is the UI of Bitbucket. This is the UI of GitLab. This is the UI of GitHub. This is the UI of GitHub. If you learn one UI, right, it will be very easy to understand the other UIs also. I will show you, guys. I will show you. Okay. What is this, guys? This course is related to Git and GitHub, and will show you the little bit about the GitLab and Bitbucket also. Bitbucket also. Now you understood, right? There is no much difference between GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. So what is the difference? Our UI will be different. Yes, understood. So what are the prerequisites, guys? So prerequisite is none. Anyone can learn. Because of nowadays, everyone is using that kit. What is the duration, guys? Duration is 5 days. 5 days from Tuesday to Monday. We'll discuss Monday also. So, plus we'll share two recordings, two recording videos. Those are related to FAQs. Okay. So frequently asked questions. I prepared it two videos, guys. So at the end of this class, they will upload those two recordings. You guys can watch it. Okay. So who is that trainer? 1 second.
Hari, this is
1 second.
Aparna.
Yeah. 1 second. Yeah, sorry guys, I was muted. Yeah. So prerequisite is none. Duration 5 days. Tuesday to Monday. We'll share the recorded videos. Those are related to FAQs. Trainer, Mr. Hari, 12 plus years of experience. And class timings are 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. IST. Now go ahead. Praveen Anna, who is
Yeah, this is
Aparna.
Aparna, Hari. Yeah.
Yeah, Aparna, tell me.
So this is a basic Git class, I believe, correct?
Basic means you will get the advanced also, the conflict resolution. So whatever we discussed in the modules, right?
Yeah, and I think 8 and 9 do we cover here in the basic?
Yes, yes, yes.
Module 8 and 9.
Module 8 and 9. Yes, we'll cover. But you are asking about the CI/CD Git options, GitHub options.
No, can
So
you go
this
to
I
8?
will show you how to do it.
No, can you go to module 8 once? Yeah, these
Git
also will
reviews.
be covered here.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, fine. So we will get all the videos of the all the modules or only the additional FAQs alone?
No, no, everything will be. So everything. So finally, what we will share. So something like no, the soft copy, class notes, and the recorded videos will be shared via Google Drive.
Via Google Drive or from the day one
Yes.
also, right?
From the day one also you can reach out to that guys who is DURGASOFT team. They
Okay.
will provide you the recordings like Git and GitHub. Yeah, they will share it. Second, I will show you that thing. Yeah, you see here, right? So Git by Hari. So they will share all the recordings and FAQs and material also. Whatever we are discussing in the class and whatever we are showing, right? That will be shared by the team. Okay,
Okay, Hari. Thank you.
understood?
Yeah, so Saturday, Sunday also do we have class? Only 5 classes. Is it like
Only five classes. Only five classes.
only 5 from Tuesday to
Mm.
Monday?
If it will extend, right? If it will extend, I will take another class Monday or
Oh,
Tuesday also.
okay, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, sir. Yeah.
Something like someone asking doubts, right? There might be a losing the time, right? So that
Okay,
may
okay.
be we
Understood.
will discuss another class. Okay.
Okay, understood, Hari. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. So what we will provide the soft copy material and class notes, whatever we are discussing here, right? That notes and recorded videos will be shared via Google Drive. Okay. So we'll share via Google Drive. Understood, guys? Yeah. Yep, guys. So what are the developers? So for example, these all are the developers, guys. So four developers. So these are the four developers, guys. So these developers, so this guy is from Hyderabad, this guy is from Pune, this guy is from Chennai, or this guy is from USA. Okay. So who are? So this guy from HYD, this guy from Pune, right? These all are the developers, guys. So this guy from Chennai and this guy is from working USA. USA. For example, these all are the developers, guys. Developer, developer, developer. So this is also a developer. So this is also a developer. For example, guys. So these developers are working on the project. So these guys are working on the project and so they wrote the some code. They want to integrate all the codes. He is working on USA, he is working on Chennai, working on Pune, working on Hyderabad. So what is here? How to integrate developers all the developers code at one place. What is the so here the challenge is how to integrate. So here he developed some code. Here he developed some code. This guy also developed some code. This guy also developed some code. How to integrate this code? How to integrate all the developers code at one place? All the developers at one place, and how to track them? How to track the code changes in the project? What is that, guys? The second challenge, how to track these, how to track, how to track code changes in the project, in the project, how to track code changes in the project, how to track means, so who modified, right? Who modified the code, what modified the code, what modified, when modified, okay, where modified, so right, where modify. So how to track the code changes in the project, how to integrate developers code at one place. How to integrate developers code at one place, guys. How to integrate, so what is that, guys? What is this? GitHub. What is a storage? A storage. So where we can store the, guys, we can store the data in the one central repository. One repository. For example, this is a remote repository. What is this, guys? So this is the remote repository. So we need to store the code. We need to store the code in this central repository. Remote repository. Remote repository. Guys, understood? So we can store the data in this repository. We can store the data in the repository. What this repository is? So for example, this repository is guys, what is this repository? This repository we call it as GitHub repository. Guys, so where the developers store the code, the developers store the code in the a repository. In which repository? GitHub repository or a GitLab repository. This is AWS GitLab repository or or GitHub repo. So this is this is the repository, for example. Okay. So this is the repository. This is the repository. This is the repository. So we can store the data in the this GitHub repository. This GitHub repository. Now you understood, right, guys? So, right? So how to integrate all the developers code at one place? How to integrate? Through the GitHub repository. Through the GitHub repository. Right? So from how we can push the code, how we can send the code. We can send the code through Git. What is that? Git client. How we can push the code from your local to how we can push the code from your local to a remote repository. What you need to install the Git software, Git client. So from the Git client only we can push the code to the GitHub repository. Right. So if you use the Git, if you use the Git, right, it will set the who modified the code, when modified the code, what modified the code, where modified the code. So if you use the Git, it will track the changes. It will track the changes. Right? Understood? Who modified, when modified, where modified. Right? Who will track these changes? The Git will track these changes Git will track these changes and we can push it to the GitHub repository. We can push it to the GitHub repository. Guys, understood? So what is the Git client? This is the Git client. What is that? So we need to install the software. Which software we need to install? A Git software we need to install. Git for Windows. Git for Windows. So what is that? Git client software. Okay, so this is the Git software for Windows. What this is? So this is the Git Git hyphen version. So right, Git is installed on your Windows. So this is the Git bash to communicate with the Git repository. To communicate with the Git repository. Guys, understood now? Guys, now you understood? Yeah. So
Yeah.
now we'll discuss about the version control. What is that, guys? Version control. I will tell you guys again Git and GitHub what is, but now you understood, right? What exactly GitHub repository, what is Git client, how we can push, how we can track the changes, how we can push the changes. Now you understood. I will tell you version control system. What is a version control system? Add source code management tool. So what is source code, guys? Whatever the developer develop that code, right? That code will be a source code. What is that? Git, guys. What is a Git? Git is a source code management tool or a version control system. Guys, what is Git? What is Aparna? Git is version control system or a source
Source
code
code
management.
management tool.
Hmm. What is this? Multiple developers will work for a project. Yeah. So these are the multiple developers will work for the project. What is that? Multiple developers will work for a project development. Project development. Right, guys? Project development. Developers will be working from the multiple location. Developers will working from the Chennai, USA, Hyderabad, Pune. Developers will be working from multiple locations, right? So what is that next? Yeah, all developers code should be stored at one place. All developers code should be placed at one place. All developer code should be at one place. All developers code should be stored at one place. One place. So to integrate, what is that? To integrate all the developers source code, all the developers source code at one place. So what we will do, guys? So we will use, guys, so if you want to integrate all the developers code at one place, we will use source code repository softwares. Source code repository softwares like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Bitbucket, AWS code commit, Azure repo. Okay, we have number of etc. Right. What is a version control system? Multiple developers will work for the project development. Developers will be working from multiple locations. All developer code should be stored at one place. To integrate all the developer source code at one place, we will use the source code repository software like GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket, AWS code commit, Azure repo. Right. Understood, guys? Now you understood. What is version control system and source code management. So there are two types of version control systems. There are two types of a version control system. So there are two types of version control system. One is a centralized version control system. Other one is a distributed version control system. What is this? Centralized version control system, and second one is distributed version control system. Okay. Aparna, are you working as a developer or something like how you are working?
I'm a developer. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Now you understood, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So there are two types of version control systems. One is a centralized version control system. Other one is distributed version control system. So what is centralized version control system and what is distributed version control system? So what is centralized and what is distribution? I will tell you. Okay. Source code management. The management changes to the documents, computer programs, large website and other collection of information. So centralized version control system and distributed version control system. So what is a centralized version control system? So we have only one central repository, one server. So and the from your developer. So these all are the developers workstation. They directly commit the code into the server, that repository. So here if something goes on the server, right, there is no point of redundancy. There is no point of redundancy. If something goes wrong and our data will be lost. So right, in the centralized version control system, which one is using SVN subversion is using in the centralized version control system. So coming to the distributed version control system, Git is the distributed version control system. So our data will be stored at two places. One is a remote repository, another one is the local repository. So right, from the working station to they will push it to the code to local repository. From local repository to we have a remote repository. If a server remote repository cross down, so we have a code in the local repository. If local repository have crashed, we have a data in the central repository. What is that? See, hi. So this is the remote repository and this is the local repository. Our code will be there in the local repository as well as remote repository. Git is a distributed version control tool that supports the distributed nonlinear workflows by providing a data assurance for the developing quality of a software. Developing quality of a software. Now we understood the two types of version control systems. We understood the two types of version control system. Then next is what is a Git? Guys, what is a Git? You already know what is a Git. What is Git, guys?
Version control system.
Very good. Super. Git is a version control software or a system. Git is a version control system. It's a distributed. What is this? It's a distributed version control system. Distributed version control system. Not not centralized. Okay. And it is used to track. It is used to track and manage manage changes to manage changes to files locally. Okay. What is this? Git is a open source. What is open source? Open source means free of cost and source code also available, right? So now you understood what is a Git is a version control system. It is a distributed version control system. It is used to track and manage the changes files locally. It is a open source. What is this? Git is a software. It is a so version control system. What you will do? It is a distributed version control system. It is a distributed version control system. So it is a distributed version control system, right? It is a distributed version control system. It is used to track the changes right here. So it will from working directory to staging, staging to local, local to remote. So it will be tracking. It is used to track and manage the files locally. And Git is a open source. Git is a open source. So how we can use that Git by using Git bash. So for example, ls cd ds git test 9 for example. You see, so this is the so right, we have a main, right? This is the local repository. Git log, git status. Okay, how we can work with the git locally by using, so this is tracked the changes. So committed by commit code, author and date, commit message, right? So it is used to track, manage the changes to the files locally. It is a open source and free of cost. Free of cost and source code also available. Now you understood the Git, right, guys? Now you understood or not? Guys, understood or no?
Yes, yes,
Pravina,
yes, understood.
yes, right? Now you understood the Git, the real power of on the command line. What is a Git? Git is a real power of the command line. What is it? What is a Git? Git is a version control system for tracking the changes in computer files. It is generally used to store the code management and the software development. Right. So GitHub. What is GitHub? Getting started now. Getting started now. What is GitHub? Yes, understood. It's a very easy, nothing to worry about it. What is GitHub? We already know what is GitHub. What is GitHub? Guys, tell me.
Mm, all our repositories exist in
Yes.
GitHub.
Hmm. GitHub is a platform. What is that? GitHub is the a platform. Which platform? Remote repository platform. Okay. GitHub is the remote repository platform. What we can do? We can store the data. We can store the data. For example, this is the data, we can store it, right? So GitHub repository to store the project code, to store the project related files, source code at one place, right? So for example, this is the remote repository. So all the code will be available in this repository, right? So very easy. GitHub is a platform which is used to store project related files, source code at one place. In GitHub, we can create the source code repository to store the project. What we can do, we can create the repositories. AWS DevOps material is the repository, or Citibank is the project, or something like Axis Bank, Citibank, HDFC Bank. You are working on the banking project, or a insurance project. LIC is the repository, right? So in this repository, in GitHub, we can create the source code repository. We can create the repositories like this. Okay. Yeah. These are the repositories. In the repositories, GitHub, we can create the source code repositories to store the project code. What are the repositories, guys? Repositories is AWS DevOps material. For example, this is the repository to store the project code. For example, your prospect you are taking as a code. All developers connect to the, what is this, guys? All developers connect to this project repository. AWS DevOps, this one. All developers can connect to this AWS DevOps material repository to store the project code. So all the developers can connect to the project repository to store the project code. So for the code integration will become very easy. Here, code integration will become very easy. Very easy. Guys, understood? Code integration will become very easy. So GitHub repository will monitor all the code changes. How it monitor? It monitor through who modified, what modified, when modified, where modified, where modified. Guys, understood? GitHub is a platform which is used to store the project related files or source code at one place. GitHub, we can create the source code repositories to store the project code. So all developers can connect to the project repository to source the project code. So GitHub repository will monitor the changes. Something like this guy is modified the code. Who modified? Chennai guy modified. What modified? When modified? Where modified? You see? So this is the commit. Who modified Hari and when modified, what modified, it will be checking on the commit. It will be checking on this commit code, right? So now we understood who modified, what modified, when modified, where modified. This will be tracked by the Git, will be tracked by the GitHub. Guys, understood? Now it's simple. Now we understood the Git and GitHub. Guys, Pravina.
Yes.
Yes, right? Praveen, Rasmi, Umesh, Mahesh. Guys, understood?
Yes.
Git and GitHub.
Yes,
Now
sir.
you got the clarity about the what Git and what Git is. The usage of Git and GitHub is very easy or not, guys? If you know the concept related of files and source code at one place. Source code at one place. In GitHub, we can create a source code repository. We can create a source code repository. For example, my perspective, I created a AWS DevOps material. AWS DevOps material repository, and I stored all the DevOps related content to that store project code. Project code. Okay, all developers can connect to the project repository to store the project code. Project repository to store project code. Right. So what it will be help? It will be help for the code integration. Code integration. Code integration. Code integration will become very easy. Guys, understood? Yeah. Right. So GitHub repository will monitor all the code changes. GitHub repository. Where is guys? GitHub repository will monitor all the code changes. Right, guys? GitHub repository will monitor all the code changes. So how it will monitor? Guys, how it will monitor? Guys, tell me, guys. Who modified?
Modified. When
Hmm,
modified.
very good. When modified?
Where modified.
Yes. Where
And what
modified?
and what modified.
Very good. What modify? Yes, understood? Yeah. Who developed the Git, guys? Who developed the Git? Who developed the Linux? Does anyone knows? Who developed the Linux? So, Pravina, do you know Linux? Guys, does anyone knows Linux here?
No, I'm not a Linux developer. No.
Yeah. So where you are deploying your application? Through the Linux only, right? Containers or something like. What is your architecture? I will ask you 1 second, guys. Yeah. Who is this guy, guys? Linus Provald. Yes, I love this guy because of I started my career as a Linux engineer. Okay. Who developed the Git, guys? Git developed by the Linus Torvalds, who developed the Linux. Okay. So this is the guy developed the Linux, Linus Torvalds. Who is that guy? That guy is a Linus Torvalds. You say this is the guy, Linus Torvalds is developed the Git. There is somewhere. Understood? So he's the Linus Torvalds, creator of the Linux Git in the conversations. Understood, guys? Yeah. Who developed, guys? Linus Torvalds developed the Git, and he released as a open source. Released as a open source, guys. So what is open source, guys? Does anyone knows what is open source?
Free of cost.
Yes, free of cost and
It is available for everyone to use.
free of cost and source code. Source code also available. What is source code? I think Pravina knows very well.
GitHub.
Yeah, GitHub source, Git source code. He developed the software, right? So
Oh,
while
sorry.
developing the software, we need a code. That code is nothing but a source code. So we can use that source code, right? So he developed so he is released as a free of cost and source code also available. Use this source code and the companies. Uh, now Git Now GitHub is acquired by the Microsoft. Then now Git is acquired before some other guy used that code, open source code, and created their own GUI tool in the GUI tool. So GitLab also same GUI tool. So the Bitbucket also GUI. So Bitbucket will be provided by the Atlassian company. Jira, who provides the Jira? So that Atlassian you already know, right, guys? Who are using Jira?
Yeah, we know it.
Jira, Bitbucket, both are
At
will
last.
be from the Atlassian. Atlassian, I think the spelling I don't know. This is the Atlassian. Atlassian company created that Bitbucket. You see, right? So this is the Jira, Confluence, and where is that Lam, Jira productivity? So many products are there. But so Bitbucket is from Atlassian. Okay. Yep, guys. Very nice. So Git he released as a CLI. How we can connect with the Git, guys, we can connect with this through CLI. This is the CLI. So how we can connect it, guys? We can connect it through commands, right? So how we can connect the? So we can connect the Git CLI through Git commands. So what are the Git commands? Git add, Git commit, Git status, Git log, Git push, Git pull, Git checkout, Git merge, Git clone. All these tools will be, all these commands will be using in the Git. You guys understood? What is that? Git CLI. Git CLI means Git commands. How you can use it? Git commands, Git add. I will show you here. You see, guys? Git checkout, Git add, Git status, Git commit, Git push, Git pull. Okay. So these all are the commands we are using in the local. The local. Okay. Git add, Git commit, Git status, Git push, Git pull, and Git clone, etc. We have a commands. How we can interact with the Git, guys? Through the commands only. What are the Git GUI tools, guys? Guys, what are the Git GUI tools? GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Azure Repo, Azure Repo, AWS Code Commit, AWS Code Commit, and etc. AWS Code Commit and etc. Yes, understood. Shall I continue or will continue from tomorrow?
You can continue for some time.
No, someone left. Maybe we'll continue from tomorrow. Hmm?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Hari,
So
what is
Pravina, wait.
the
Oh, yeah.
command that you run? History, what it does? That gave all the list of commands.
This is the magic of Linux.
Okay.
History. The command is history.
So,
Just you can.
history of all the Git commands.
No, no, no. Whatever the you are executed, this is the shell prompt.
Okay.
Okay. Git
Mm-hmm.
bash. So, so what this is Git bash, right? You see here.
Yes.
This is the Git bash. So echo dollar shell. What this shell is? This shell is bin bash shell. Okay. Whatever
Okay.
the commands you are executed in this shell, right? How we can
Okay.
check it? You can check it by using the history. So something like I will tell you in the Linux. Restart the session. Sorry, red hat.
So
Okay,
all the
history.
commands till now you have used in this command prompt. I mean, in this
Yes, yes, yes. It
environment.
will. No, environment.
So this is local.
So
It's not common for everyone, right? So this, since you
it's
have taken
local. This is your laptop.
laptop. Okay.
This is your laptop. This is Git client.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this
Yeah.
is a my Linux server. My Linux server also showing what are the commands executed. You see, right?
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So there will be a Pravina, there will be a Linux also going on this DURGASOFT.
Okay.
Okay. So nowadays, everyone should learn the at least commands, the Linux commands, basic commands. So we'll understand what is Linux, how we can execute all the tools, DevOps tools, every tools, right? The CI/CD, it included. Nowadays, our developers also will do the CI/CD for development environment. At least they need to know what are the commands they are executing, what this command is, how this command is, right? So git add, git pull, git commit. These are also commits only. These are also commands only. CLI commands. If
Yes.
you know basic Linux, right, guys? If you know basic Linux, it will be very easy to understand all the Linux, all the tools of a DevOps, CI/CD, or something like Jenkins, everything. It will be very easy because of why they are why they are depending upon the Linux. Linux is also open source. It's a free. Everyone can use it under R&D, then implement, right? It's a free. That's the reason Linux is very popular nowadays. Yeah. Praveena and you guys, Mahesh. Praveena, you are working as a developer, huh?
It's Aparna actually. I have
Ah,
joined a name different.
okay. You're, yeah. Aparna, you are
I'm a
working as a
developer.
developer.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, which application are you using as a micro-based or monolithic or microservice-based application?
No, I'm a UI developer.
Okay, UI developer.
Yes.
So you are using HTML, CSS,
Yes,
JavaScript.
yes.
Okay. So that also you know, right?
Yep, I know.
Mm, hmm, okay. Mahesh, Umesh, what about you guys? Are you able to understand?
Yes.
Yes, Mahesh. Mahesh, you are a employee or working as real
Yeah,
time or
I'm
time?
yeah, real time. I'm working as a
Mm,
developer.
oh, very good, nice. So your architecture is microservice or something like a monolithic?
Monolithic.
Monolithic only.
Yeah.
Your application is not involving the Kubernetes Docker container, right?
No, not contain.
Aparna, they are in your company are using Kubernetes, Docker container.
Yeah, actually, I'm more connected with the front end. I think Kubernetes they use.
Means your application is a microservice based application. They are using the Kubernetes. So if it is
Yeah,
a
Microsoft.
Kubernetes, they are microservice based application. Mahesh, any doubt? Is any doubts? Guys, if possible, we'll take the class on Saturday also, if you're okay with. Actually, the classes will be Monday to Friday only. But so I will take the class on Saturday also.
I'm okay.
Mahesh, Umesh, your guys okay? Or so we'll continue from Monday.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So
It will
GitBash
be
is
very easy.
Linux based one.
Mm-hmm.
Is GitBash Linux based?
Linux based. No. It's a SSH. It's a bash shell. So
Okay.
if you want to run
Mm-hmm.
any commands, so we can run it on a command line, CMD, right?
Yes.
CMD. So here also we can run the commands. Okay. And PowerShell. So Windows is more comfortable with the PowerShell and command prompt, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
Git GUI is compatible with Git Bash.
Okay.
Okay. And so later we'll show you the how we can same git add git push will be how we can do it through GUI also I will show you. And you can run from here also. View terminal. So here, right, we can select the
The
bash,
promise.
git bash. So from here also we can run the command, same commands. So here, how we are running the same commands here, right? So we can run it here also. I will show you how real-time people will work on the Git and GitHub. Okay?
Oh, okay. Then.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. We'll continue from tomorrow.
Yeah. Bye all.
Maya.
Thank you.
Thank you.